There's an awful lot to like about the new Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid, for although it costs an eye-watering £79,800 before options, it also happens to be exquisitely well made and has been subtly restyled inside and out to make it more desirable than ever before. It's also capable of 158 miles an hour, can hit 62 in under 5 seconds, yet emits just 33 grams of CO2 per kilometre and returns a claimed 188 mpg on the combined cycle. Not bad as a combo, even at 80 grand. But what does the Cayenne e-hybrid drive like? And is it worth the money compared with a full-blown EV?
So I know hybrids aren't really, in theory, the ultimate solution to our problems when it comes to climate change, and they're not the cleanest vehicles that you can drive. An EV is, or even a hydrogen propelled car, or maybe a steady state battery powered EV, who knows? But our switch away from fossil fuels is becoming ever more complex. And to me, right now, in the here and now, hybrids make a lot of sense, because you get the best of both worlds. Best of the old world that we're waving goodbye to, not quite the best of the new world that we're having to embrace, but a big chunk of it that makes a big difference. And Porsche have been doing it for a very long time, well over a decade now. So this new Cayenne e-hybrid is at the cutting edge, I reckon, when it comes to the technology that is contained down there, back there, under here, the whole car. You get a 3-litre V6 turbo up there, and it's then mated to a decent sized battery and e-motor to give you a combined, in this case, 463 bhp and 650 newton meters of torque. Those are big numbers. Okay, this thing weighs 2.4 tons, but 463 horsepower and 650 newton meters of torque is a lot of propulsion power. As a result, this thing flies. There's a little bit of regen going on at the brake pedal in this car, and it doesn't feel just as natural as a fully conventional Porsche in terms of the way it stops. But I am very impressed with the way it goes. The V6 itself is not the last word in kind of inspiring sounds that it makes, but it goes well enough. It's a very efficient engine. The gearbox, an 8-speed auto, is also excellent. Up or down in hybrid mode, in sport mode, and in sport plus mode, even in off-road mode. It works a treat, this gearbox. The other thing that they have changed, or just updated on the new Cayenne, is this interior, and it works really well. The big change are these instruments here, which is now, I think it's a 12.6 inch screen, fully TFT, fully digitized, switchable in the display, but super clear. And it's kind of beginning to feel quite a lot like a Taycan inside a Cayenne nowadays. And that is because in about, 2026, the Cayenne will become fully EV. So they're just kind of getting Cayenne drivers used to the Taycan style full EV interior. And I don't know, maybe it's me that's just got used to it, but yeah, I really like the cabin of this thing. It feels genuinely expensive inside, as indeed it should for £80,000, but I don't know, I've driven plenty of £80,000 cars that don't feel like you're getting your money's worth. In this thing, you definitely are. But there is one quite big hiccup with the Cayenne e-hybrid, and it's got nothing to do with its powertrain, which is excellent. It's got nothing to do with its brakes, which are brilliant. It's got nothing to do with its steering. It's got nothing to do with the way it drives. It is how many people you can fit in it, namely only 5. There is no 7-seat option with this car, and that is a real shame. and that will limit it in terms of its appeal compared with its rivals from BMW, Mercedes, Volvo, Volkswagen, etc. No 7-seat option. Black mark.
In base form, the Cayenne Hybrid generates a combined 463 bhp and 650 Nm from its V6 turbo hybrid powertrain. But there's also a more expensive S version that produces another 50-odd horsepower if that's not enough. Not that the base version lacks performance. Porsche claims a 0 to 62 mph time of just 4.9 seconds and a top speed of 158 miles an hour. What you don't get on this base version, however, is the air suspension or four-wheel steering of the test car we tried. Both of these are optional, and both, if you can afford them, are well worth paying the extra for.
So in E-mode alone, you can do 84 miles an hour in the E-hybrid Cayenne. You can also do 46 miles in terms of pure electric range. That's pretty much double the previous generation Cayenne E-hybrid. So that's quite a decent chunk of progress there. The petrol tank's 74 litres, and I'm seeing kind of high 20s, but I'm driving it quite hard today to shoot this. So I think you'd probably get mid-30s out of it. I mean, the claim is that you get 166 miles to the gallon. That's kind of spurious, really, because that's in E-mode, and it's a bit ridiculous because you ain't getting 166 mpg out of this car any day of the week over a decent long journey. But I think the genuine real-world range is going to be 400 and something miles on your 74 litre tank, and you do a full charge, which, by the way, takes just over 2 hours. If you've got absolutely no battery power left and you then plug it in, it takes 2.2 hours to charge it fully back up to 100%, which then gives you 46 miles. So what do I think of the Cayenne Hybrid overall? I like it. In many ways, I like it a lot because I just think it's so relevant for the here and now. Basically, you drive into a town, you flick it into E-mode, you behave yourself. You don't throw any nasties into the atmosphere or into the town that you're driving through. Get out onto a road like this, chuck it into Sport or Sport Plus. The damping gets better, the body control gets miles better. It all sharpens up, and you blow your emissions into the atmosphere out here, which is not as bad as doing so in a town. I know that's not perfect. In the broader scheme of things, that's far from perfect. But right now, given that we've got 10 years yet to come until we're all forced into driving not fossil-propelled vehicles, I think this thing really works. One piece of advice though, if you are going to buy a Cayenne E-hybrid, make sure you tick the box marked air suspension. It's about 1,700 quid, and it's fitted to this car, and it works a treat. The ride, the handling, the steering, everything on this thing is great. Take the air suspension away, and the ride particularly is nowhere near as good. And I suspect that the handling goes out of the window too. Beyond that, I really like this car, and I really highly recommend it.
As a package, the Cayenne E-hybrid is hard to fault, no matter how ordinary its engine might sound, and even without the air suspension that it really ought to come with as standard. It's just a great all-rounder. The biggest disappointment is definitely the lack of seats 6 and 7, true. But then there are plenty of other SUVs within the VW empire that can provide such practicality, none of which are anything like as entertaining as this one is to drive or merely to travel in. In a quiet kind of way, the Cayenne E-hybrid is one of the most impressive Porsches on sale right now. Simple as that.